Hi, this is Danny Borris and I collect model toy soldiers. And this video represents number 20 that show my collection. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. The figures can be made available for sale and I can be reached at danielborris@yahoo.ca. The first group represents the fall of Berlin. The models are from King and Country and consist of a German Panzer IV tank and two sets of infantry, both Russian and German. The scene depicts the defence and subsequent fall of Berlin circa 1945. When my interest was piqued in the 60s to actually collect model toy soldiers as opposed to just play with them as a kid, I simply couldn't afford connoisseur pieces. Nowadays, the quality of the figures coming out of China can rival what we used to class as connoisseur pieces, and at a price most collectors can afford. My collection is rich in all types of figures. I love them all periods, all makers. Each has its place. In this grouping, there are 8-foot figures and 1 tank and crew. The next grouping shows the spoils of war. The set is by Tradition of London and was originally issued as a connoisseur set, then reissued in gloss paint as a model toy set. It represents 10 French Napoleonic soldiers after apparently defeating the Scots. I suspect the part about defeating the Scots is based in fantasy, but I wouldn't know now, would I? Some of the figures are dancing around in kilts, one looking at a Royal Horse Artillery tarlatan helmet, and yet another in a British red tunic. Two others play a hand of cards on a captured British drum. The grouping has 10-foot figures. The next grouping shows Donald Featherstone's French colonials. One of the two lots of colonials I bought from Donald. They are more representative of 30mm figures than 25. It's fair to say I do not know who the manufacturers are, although the Foreign Legion figures and Algerians are quite magnificent, as are the Grenadiers from the Crimean War. Some others of the figures may be home cast. There are 82 mounted figures and 375 foot. This next grouping represents Napoleon in Egypt. The set captures a great deal of atmosphere for me. The figures are quite magnificent and come from King and Country. Napoleon is still a general at this time, and his men are in revolutionary uniform with bicorns and makeshift lightweight trousers. These figures meet the connoisseur standard for most discerning collectors. The campaign itself was disastrous. The French fleet caught in port by Nelson, hard-fought battles in the desert, and plague and pestilence depleting the army. Napoleon left the army in Egypt and returned to France, apparently for political reasons. Later he left the Grand Army in Russia in even more dire straits. For the empire to survive, the emperor must survive. The Imperial Guard was better by one squadron of Mameluke cavalry, the fierce warrior caste that made up Napoleon's adversaries in Egypt. This next set shows an Algerian Spahi unit. These figures are William Britain's holocasts, although you would be forgiven for seeing them as being more akin to the modern figures produced today. They differ from most William Britain's antique figures in the high degree of their animation. They are positively dashing with their rifles cast poking through their horses' manes. This set is stunning in its mint condition. Produced in 1 year only in 1958, set 2172 is very rare and therefore very valuable. James Opie's price guide, written in 1985, suggests that this set is only likely to appear at auction once per year and is priced at $1,600 in his listing, a third of a century ago. I paid this full price to Peter Nathan in Australia in 2009. I tried to talk him down, but he wouldn't have it. What could I do about it? I had no choice. This next grouping is my ancient army, Daniel Borris's ancient army. When I was 22 years old and just married, the toy soldier bug that had laid dormant since I was 12 years old was rekindled. I came across a copy of John Tunstall's Wargaming magazine, which led to buying Airfix 20mm figures that became armies. That led to Donald Featherstone and Brigadier Peter Young. That led to War Games clubs and the Society of Ancients. That led to my first 100% medal army. And here it is, almost half a century later. It is a Greek city-states army composed of 22 mounted figures, 282 foot figures, 2 bolt-throwing engines. The manufacturers include Hinchcliffe, Benassi, Garrison, Warrior, and a few minifigs. They are my link to the past. Nostalgia definitely has driven my collection. This next group is Blenheim on Parade. Once again, as you know, I'm very attached to Blenheim miniatures. And in this grouping you see a band and the accompanying lancers. The lancer band of 12 bandsmen, the accompanying lancer unit being 12 mounted lancers with colour party. There are also an Argyll and Southern Highlanders colour party, full black watch pipe band, and a unit of the Cameronians. The total grouping is 27 foot figures and 22 mounted. This next grouping I call Vive la France. The rarest set in this grouping is the Britain's Paris Office Infantry. You can see the Deposé trademark etched on the base. The Paris office was short-lived from 1912 to 1923. This set is therefore a century antique. There are 8 World War I holocast marching infantry. This set was offered on eBay recently for $1,000. Not by me, I hasten to add. Next there is a set of 5 mounted holocast Britain's cuirassiers, also I believe from the Paris office. The holocast Foreign Legion set consists of 8 foot and 4 mounted Arabs and 16 legionnaires on foot. In addition, there is an 8-piece limited edition French Legion / Turcos set from Tradition, and a 5-piece set of beautiful legionnaires, 1 mounted, 4 foot. The officer turned in the saddle with the binoculars is just lovely. The maker is unknown. This next grouping shows the death of Horatio Nelson. In 1805, the British fleet under Admiral Lord Nelson defeated the combined fleets of France and Spain at the Battle of Trafalgar. Sadly, in the process, Nelson was killed. This set piece consists of 3 vignettes. The first shows a section of the flagship HMS Victory's gun deck. The second, below deck, shows Nelson surrounded by his officers and those offering help in the hope of saving him. Both of these sets are from William Britten's, produced for the 200-year bicentenary of the battle. The actual death of Nelson is a limited edition with oak from HMS Victory as part of the set piece. The third set is a flight of whimsy on my part. The Nelson figure is also Britten's, commemorating the bicentenary. The present-day naval officer and marine bugler are from King and Country. The saluting officer bears a striking resemblance to Prince Charles. This is my small homage to Nelson. This next group is the Tradition Camel Corps. The grouping consists and features Tradition's limited edition Camel Corps in the Sudan. It consists of 9 camels, 1 artillery piece, 5 gunners, 2 Egyptian kids and 2 palm trees. It is accompanied by a set of 4 William Britten's Lancers produced in 1992 for the company's centenary. Bringing up the rear is a half set of William Britten's antique hollow cast Egyptian Camel Corps. Total number of figures in the group: 2 foot figures, 2 palms, 4 mounted Lancers, 7 members of the Camel Corps and 12 camels with the gun and equipment.